From the Pontiac Silverdome, good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Michigan High School Athletic Association State Football Championships. Tonight, the Class AA title at stake as Saginaw Arthur Hills Lumberjacks tangle with Redford Detroit Catholic Central. I'm Mark Crawford, joined as always by the old coach Bill Brandell and William. 1 year ago here at the Silverdome, these same two clubs met. Arthur Hill, a 13-12 winner. Tonight, the long-awaited rematch.
Well, Mark, the Lumberjacks come in as the defending state champions, and they're trying to become the first team in Class AA to win back-to-back state championships. 1 year ago, it was Catholic Central in this same situation, so these teams have been here before. It's a classic matchup of size versus speed. We got a big Catholic Central team against probably a little quicker Saginaw team. Should be a classic matchup.
We'll rumble for the AA state title. One of your network sponsors is Farm Bureau Insurance. Arthur Hill won the coin toss. They deferred their choice to the second half, so Redford Detroit Catholic Central will receive to start our football game. Marvin Wright will boot it away for Arthur Hill. Fielded on about the 17, maybe 18-yard line by Brady Pankow of Catholic Central. He's out across the 30 and near the 34, where the Shamrocks of Redford Detroit Catholic Central will start 1st and 10. There's Pankow, who averages about 25 yards every time he touches it on a kickoff return. And that group you saw sprint up to the line is the key for Catholic Central today, their outstanding offensive line. Right side, Fred Taylor has maybe 2 yards across the 35 to near the 37-yard line. There are your officials for this one: O'Neill, Leitfeld, Johnson, Zilli, and Morris. Dan O'Neill, the referee from Clawson. 2nd down, 7. Chris Barbara, number 10, is the quarterback. Follows up Todd Lackey, his 5'11", 220-pound senior center. Little counter to John Rash, has running room. 1st down and more as he's knocked out of bounds at the midfield stripe.
Well, Andy Davila makes the hit, getting the ball carrier out of bounds, but a nice gainer as the Shamrocks take advantage of that huge offensive line, throw some good blocks, seal off the defense, and get their back, John Rash, to the outside for big yardage.
They mark the football just shy of the 50. Here is the Catholic Central offensive line, and boy, that's a terrific group. They go 6'2", 235, and the back who's been featured in the playoffs, Fred Taylor, number 20. And there is Taylor. And he's across the midfield stripe, might pick up 1 yard before he's submarined by number 83, Roosevelt Austin from Arthur Hill. Here is the Arthur Hill defense. Linebacker Sam Sword has a great name and plays well enough to back it up. And deep for Arthur Hill, a guy whose name is not listed, perhaps the biggest story, Howard Foster, their best defensive back, who is in the ball game right now. Will see lots of duty and intercepted 7 passes during the regular season. Little out pattern is complete for Catholic Central. Brady Pankow on the reception. Picks up 2 or 3 more. It's 3rd and 7.
Bill Bauer on the defense that time. Good strong pass by Chris Barber that time to the outside. He had to put that ball right on the money. Defender right with the receiver and right on the sideline. So an excellent throw.
Good look at that beef up front for Catholic Central. Just an outstanding line. In fact, great line play has been a history at Catholic Central, but Arthur Hill with the penetration stops the 3rd down play for no gain. It's 4th and punt for the Shamrocks.
Well, some great defense, and there's the quickness. 75, Greg Price. He's 6'1", 250. He's the biggest guy on the Lumberjack defense, but it was quickness that time. A lot of pursuit to the ball that prevented the 1st down.
Steve Gusva's punt is fielded right at the 20-yard line. Fair caught by Marvin Wright from Arthur Hill, and the Lumberjacks, the defending state champions, will get their first chance on offense. Here's the Arthur Hill offensive line. Good group. Kedrick Redeemer down at the bottom there, the split end, has caught 26 passes this year. And in the backfield, their do-everything quarterback Marvin Wright. Dangerous running and throwing. Here come the Lumberjacks, 1st and 10 from their own 20-yard line, just underway in this Class AA title game. They'll try the middle, take it straight behind their center with DeJuan Lyle, and he's got 2 or 3 yards. It'll be 2nd down, about 7. Here's the Catholic Central defense for you now. 3 all-state candidates on that defensive line. Best linebacker, #1 tackler on the team, is Joe Herman there in the middle. And the defensive backs for Catholic Central. 2 clubs that are just solid all the way around.
All kinds of talent. Division I scouts all over the place, Mark, when these 2 teams get together.
There's Kedrick Redeemer gathering in the pass from Marvin Wright. 1st down yardage plus a little for Arthur Hill.
Well, Kedrick Redeemer from his end position, he averages 21 yards every time he touches the ball on those receptions. Nice pickup that time for the Lumberjacks. And that's what they need to do, Mark. They got to loosen up this big defensive front and those linebackers that are so active for the Shamrocks. You got to keep those guys back on their heels a little bit.
1st and 10 from their own 36-yard line for Arthur Hill. Dive back to DeJuan Lyle into the secondary and across the midfield stripe. Another 1st down for the Lumberjacks.
Well, a great bit of offensive blocking as up front. Let's credit the Lumberjack offensive line as they made a huge hole up there, and DeJuan Lyle went through the line of scrimmage and then cut back to the inside and picked up some great yardage right up the middle of the field.
1st and 10, the football resting on the midfield stripe. Mark Crawford, Bill Brandell, glad you're with us from the Pontiac Silverdome Class AA state championship game here in Michigan. Keeper that time by Marvin Wright. Picks up 2 or 3, and that's the play that won them the state title last year. A Marvin Wright keeper around the right side into the end zone gave Arthur Hill a 13-12 state championship over this same Catholic Central team.
Well, Marvin Wright, one of those guys, Mark, that just seems to find some way to get the job done. He runs the ball, he throws the ball, he kicks the ball, he brings out the first aid kit beforehand, and just about everything for the Lumberjacks.
I formation behind Wright on a 2nd down 7. And the 2nd back, plenty of room. Howard Foster is dragged down. Perhaps a touchdown saving tackle by Kenneth Rice, but it's a big gainer, and Arthur Hill will go 1st and 10 from the 29 of Catholic Central.
Well, Kenneth Rice just hangs on to a toe as the ball carrier about to slip away and go down the sidelines. That was definitely a touchdown saving tackle. Kenneth Rice, 5'10", 165-pound senior on the sidelines.
Lumberjacks with another different look. 1 back and 3 wide outs. And they'll go to that 1 back. It's Lyle. Has 2 or 3. Gets it near the 25. Jason. Well, Coach, got to be a bit of a surprise how Arthur Hill is just moving the ball downfield here, first possession against this vaunted Catholic Central defense.
Well, they've got the Shamrocks back on their heels a little bit, mixing up their plays very well. A little bit of the passing game, some outside running, and some inside counter action, and they've just got their rhythm going offensively. And the Shamrocks just kind of sitting back and being patient, and boy, they're not able to stop the running game so far.
Well, pickup of only 1 or 2 this time as Catholic Central stiffening. Ball carrier that time was Howard Foster. They'll mark him inside the 25 and down near the 24, where it's 3rd down and about 5 facing Arthur Hill. Jim Urich The 8th-year head coach at Arthur Hill, Tom Mack, you already saw a moment ago in his 17th season at Catholic Central. And right now, almost without question, the 2 best Class AA programs in the state. Howard Foster tries to turn the corner and does. He's inside the 10 and down to the 7.
Well, great quickness. Howard Foster dips inside on the option play, takes the pitch from quarterback Marvin Wright, dips in right there, and now spots the room to the outside. Credit his outside blockers also. Kedrick Redeemer out there with a great block to spring him around the corner, and he's down the sidelines. Great quickness on the part of Howard Foster.
First and goal for the Lumberjacks of Saginaw Arthur Hill. This is a club with a 20-game winning streak right now. At one point last year, they were 2-3. Went on to win 8 in a row in the state title, and they are 12-0 this year. And they're knocking on the door here in the state title game. Inside the 5 goes Marvin Wright. They'll mark him at the 4, second and goal.
Well, they'd like one more on that streak at least, Mark. And as we mentioned in the open, they would love to become the first Class AA team ever to win back-to-back state titles. Off to a great start with their first offensive possession here as they have marched the ball down the field smartly, mixing in pass, run, inside, outside. They look awful tough right now.
Oh, this has been a very impressive drive. Second and goal from the 4 for Arthur Hill. Boy, nothing there this time. DeJuan Lyle runs into the waiting arms of Shohaida, and I think Lopez was there as well, and nothing.
Boy, that was a wall haul right there. That's the defense that we expected to see from the Shamrocks. They have some big people up there. They outweigh the defense up front for the Shamrocks, outweighs the Lumberjacks about 20 pounds a man.
Third down goal from the 4. Marvin Wright, the senior quarterback, has 3 wide outs. Runs option. Foster dances into the end zone. Great athletic play by running back Howard Foster. Saw the outside was closed up, turned it in for the 6.
Well, the Arthur Hill fans down in front of us erupt as Howard Foster takes the little pitch back from quarterback Marvin Wright, cuts inside, eludes about 3 tacklers, and really comes on into the end zone untouched. The first 6 points of this ball game belong to the Lumberjacks by way of the touchdown run, Howard Foster.
Well, he does everything else, and so should not come as a big surprise, I suppose, that quarterback Marvin Wright will now kick the extra point.
Well, as I said, Mark, he quarterbacks, he plays defense, he kicks the ball, brings out the ball bag and the medicine kit.
Boy, low liner is going to miss. The extra point does not go. 4:03 still to play first quarter. Arthur Hill strikes first. One of your network sponsors is Big Boy Restaurants. Back at the Pontiac Silverdome, Saginaw Arthur Hill draws first blood 6-0. They lead Detroit Catholic Central. I'm Mark Crawford, along with the old coach Bill Brandell. And coach, pretty impressive drive for Arthur Hill.
Well, it certainly was, Mark. They mixed up their plays very well, took the ball the length of the field to put the first 6 points on the board. They are definitely the more offensive-minded team. They average about 6 points more a ball game and maybe about 50 yards total offense more than the Shamrocks. And the early numbers in this ball game would attest to that fact. That was a great beginning drive for Saginaw Arthur Hill.
Wright will boot it away for the Lumberjacks, fielded back at about the 12-yard line by Pankow. Finds a little bit of a seam across the 25 and to about the 27, where Redford Detroit Catholic Central will start first and 10. There's 2 more games remaining in our coverage of the 1992 MHSAA football finals. Thursday night at 7:30, it's the Class Double C finals pitting Montague against Detroit St. Martin de Porres. And we wind it up on Saturday with the Class Double B clash between Oxford and Kenowa Hills at 4 p.m. Catholic Central runs that counter right side. Room again for John Rash.
And a good example there, Mark, of the quickness of the Arthur Hill defense versus the size and strength for Catholic Central. There appeared to be some room to the outside for the Shamrocks on that play, but Arthur Hill able to recover defensively very quick and get over in front. It's going to be interesting to see as we go through this ball game. Will the size of the Shamrocks begin to wear down the quickness of the Lumberjacks? And we'll keep our eye on that and see if we can see things change back and forth that way.
Gain was 6 on first down. It's 2nd and 4. They'll have the 4 and then some. Fred Taylor run out of bounds after moving into Arthur Hill territory. Big gainer across midfield, and down to the 46 goes Fred Taylor.
Well, Fred Taylor taking a pitch and showing some good speed of his own as he spots a seam to the inside, makes a good inside cut, and then turns on his jets and heads for the sideline, picks up big yardage, big first down play, big bit of offensive confidence for the Shamrocks.
Fred Taylor has found himself in the playoffs. 403 yards in the 3 playoff games for Catholic Central for Fred Taylor. Here he comes again, bouncing off people, and he's got about 8 yards.
Well, the same play to the other side. Fred Taylor this time going to his offensive left side. Once again has a lead blocker out there. Jason Krieger throws a nice block for him right inside.
Good
and
balance.
You can see Taylor with the good body, positive lean forward after he's hit, picking up an extra yard or 2.
You caught a glance at our scoreboard clock. 2:20 still to play in this first quarter. 6-0. Arthur Hill leads, but Catholic Central marching. Chris Barbara, long count from the quarterback. Will try right side. Rash on the counter. Rash busting a tackle inside the 30 and down to the 28 of Arthur Hill.
Well, Howard Foster on the stop. Good bit of running once again out there. See some power running here. John Rash dips inside and puts his shoulder down right there to elude a tackler, and now comes outside with the ball. And Howard Foster with a probably touchdown saving tackle.
1st and 10. Catholic Central. And looks like that same play again to Fred Taylor. Turns the corner, spins away from one, then takes a big hit, but picks up 5-6 yards.
Well, Fred Taylor slowed down out there and then takes a really tough whack from Sam Sword. He's 6'2", 219 pounds, and just a junior. He is going to be devastating. Look at that hit. Ball carrier just being driven back about 2 yards. Good bit of defensive work after a nice run by Fred Taylor.
Nice look across the Silver Dome at Redford Catholic Central, coming to the line. 2nd down 4. They'll fake the pitch and this time go to the dive back Jason Krieger, and he is very near the first down. Looks like they will mark him at the 18, which should be first down yardage, and is, says referee Daniel O'Neill. 1st and 10 Catholic Central.
Well, Fred Taylor being used as the decoy that time. Fake pitch to him, then give the ball inside to Jason Krieger, who takes it up over his left tackle, picks up the first down.
Double tight end and the T backfield this time behind Barbara. And they'll pitch short side of the field. Taylor has some room. He's inside the 5 and down to the 4.
Well, nothing fancy by the Shamrocks on this offensive drive. It's just a matter of pitch the ball to Fred Taylor and let him leg it to the outside. But again, let's not forget those people up front that are sealing off that quick defense that the Lumberjacks will throw at you. Those big offensive linemen adjusting a little bit maybe to the quickness of Arthur Hill, and they've begun to seal things off inside, which allows their backs to get outside, turn the corner, and pick up big yards.
15 seconds left here in our first quarter. This may well be the last play of the quarter. Stopped as he approaches the line is Fred Taylor. No gain. It'll be second down goal when we return. First quarter is history here at the Silverdome. Arthur Hill out front 6-0. This is the MHSAA on Pass. Arthur Hill is out front 6-0 as we get set to start the second quarter, but it's Detroit Catholic Central knocking on the door. Second and goal from the 5-yard line. Nice crowd on hand here at the Silverdome. And so far, great football game. Chris Barbara has a man in motion, fakes to the motion man, gives to his dive back Krieger again, and he's down to the 2 where it's third and goal.
Well, once again, Fred Taylor acting as the decoy. Quarterback Chris Barbara fakes it and then hands the ball inside to Jason Krieger. I thought the handoff was a little shaky there, but Krieger had it solidly and covered it up as he made his way through that little seam right over the guard tackle area of those big offensive linemen in front of him. Gets the ball all the way down to the 2-yard line. Brings up a big third down, Mark. This is a big play here.
Third down goal out of the T formation go the Shamrocks. Diving toward the end zone, Fred Taylor, touchdown. We're all even at 6.
Boy, when Fred Taylor went up in the air from about the 3-yard line, I wasn't sure he had enough speed to get all the way to the end zone, and there were a few Lumberjacks defensively coming flying at him to keep him out of there. But down underneath, our officials right on the spot, they say that the ball touched that goal line, and Mark, that's all it has to do. It doesn't have to go into the end zone. It simply has to touch that white line, and as soon as it does, it's 6 points. And this time, Fred Taylor far enough to get it.
Well, about 8,000 referees on the close side of the Silverdome here watched the replay on the Diamond Vision up high and didn't like it. But I will tell you, from that angle, who can tell? And I think you have to give the Zebras the benefit of the doubt. You're right. The football just has to cross the plane of the goal, and they were right there looking down the line, and I believe that Fred Taylor must have done that. We're tied at 6, trying the extra point here. Adam Borschert, the kicker, knifes it through the uprights, and Catholic Central leads this one 7-6. One of your network sponsors is True Value Hardware. Bill Brandell, Mark Crawford back with you from the Silverdome. We're in the second quarter, as you see. Catholic Central has just driven the field and tacked on the extra point that gives the Shamrocks a 7-6 lead over Arthur Hill. And now CC will boot it away.
Well, Mark, 2 impressive offensive drives by these squads. The Shamrocks do it the second time they get the ball offensively. The Lumberjacks did it the first time. They now have their opportunity for number 2. Let's see if they pick up where they left off offensively.
DeJuan Lyle returns the football, gets to about the 20-yard line with it. And Arthur Hill will start there, 1st and 10 at their own 20-yard line. Well, that was an important drive for Catholic Central, I think, Bill. They didn't have to score, but they did need to get a little momentum and move the football. And it's a nice bonus for Catholic Central and head coach Tom Mack that they marched it down the field and took the lead. But more than anything, they needed to give the defense a little time to think about things and to say to the defense, gee, don't worry, we can score too. Here come the Jacks. Marvin Wright, the quarterback. Runs option room for Howard Foster. 16 yards on the carry by Howard Foster, 1st down.
Oh my, Howard Foster is scary when he gets to the outside and has a couple of blockers in front of him, Mark. He's just downright devastating. Great bit of faking inside by Marvin Wright that time. Drew the linebackers in, and Howard Foster now outside with a lead blocker. Robert Holmes out there just kind of shades one of the defenders, and that's enough for Howard Foster, and up the field he comes. Woo!
Our thanks to John Farina, who's working the ball game with us today here at the Dome. He's one of the good guys from Michigan State, William.
Well, I'm surrounded here. I'm outnumbered.
Here come the Lumberjacks. Wright wants to throw, now decides to run. I think he wanted to throw.
Well, I'm not sure. He took one look downfield, actually had 3 receivers out in the pattern that time, and did not appear that they were all covered, but Marvin Wright pulls the ball back down very quick, spots a seam up in the middle, and brings the ball upfield.
I'll tell you what happened, Bill. Marvin Wright got up to throw, and right in front of him was 6'2", 240-pound Aaron Babbitts from Catholic Central, and I think Marvin Wright decided right then, I'm going to run.
Well, I'd run away from him
the other
too.
way. That's right. 2nd down 5. DeJuan Lyle hit and driven down.
Oh, what a great defensive play by Jason Krieger. The defensive end just nailed Wright as he came down the line of scrimmage and just pounds things down there. DeJuan Lyle just going nowhere after the shoulder tackle by Jason Krieger.
Well, have you been trying to teach that tackling technique for years right there? Put the shoulder right there in their belt area, wrap them up, and take them down.
Well, that was picture perfect.
3rd down, we'll call it 4, facing Arthur Hill. They trail 7-6 here midway through quarter number 2. Down the sidelines, complete, but out of bounds is Howard Foster. Great catch by Howard Foster, but out of bounds.
Well, Howard Foster streaking down the sidelines, and a great throw by Marvin Wright, but just a foot out of bounds is Howard Foster. Just as he caught the ball, his final foot coming down is on the white chalk, and that'll go as an incomplete pass, but it sure was pretty to watch.
It'll be 4th down 4. And in punt formation, he does everything else, is Marvin Wright, the quarterback. I don't suppose you fake here this early, huh? Good high kick. Wright averages almost 40 yards a punt. And it's fielded at the 31, 32-yard line, and Catholic Central will start 1st and 10 right there.
Well, Mark, both of these teams now offensively on one possession have just marched the ball down the field, and on their other offensive possession have been stopped cold. So an interesting matchup today. This is just going to develop, I think, into one of those seesaw situations and end up being just a great ball game.
Chris Barbara, number 10, the 6', 215-pound senior quarterback, leads them up and sends it to Fred Taylor right side. Taylor has 3 or 4. I saw Sword among others on the pile, and late here comes a flag.
Well, Sam Sword, that super linebacker for the Lumberjacks, gets outside in order to catch up with Fred Taylor on that outside pitch play. Does a good job, makes the tackle. But as you said, a flag on the play. James Moten also out there defensively from his tackle spot. Once again, some lateral movement by the Lumberjacks themselves. Even though they are a lot bigger in size, they're by no means slow. We've been talking about the quickness for Arthur Hill, but we don't want folks to believe that the Shamrocks are just lumbering people out there. They got great quickness themselves. Great athletes on both of these teams.
Well, referee Daniel O'Neill gives you the call. Personal foul against Redford Detroit Catholic Central. And that'll march them all the way back to their own 22, where they'll look at 1st down and about 21. 8:45 still to play in the 1st half. Catholic Central 7. Saginaw Arthur Hill 6. CC on the draw play, and the defense not fooled. Sword again.
Well, the draw play in a normal passing situation, and the Shamrocks elect to use the draw play deep in their own end of the field. A little more conservative call offensively when you're in the area of your own 20-yard line. Restricts your offense a little bit. And the Shamrocks, as we've said, are a defensive-minded team, and they're not going to do anything to let the Lumberjacks get a free quick score here.
There's that little counter again to John Rash, and he'll pick up 2 or 3 out near the 25. Downbox says it's 4th down now, but I think it's 3rd down. Well, maybe not. CC is sending in another group. Must have been
a dead ball personal foul.
Oh, you're right. After the play.
After the play, down. And so
you're
that
right.
down did count. So it is 4th down.
Well, and you know that makes sense. The flag did come in real late. So you're right. It is 4th down and punt. Boy, good high kick by Gusfa. Fielded back at about the 33 or 34 yard line and returned 4 or 5 yards by Andy Davila. And Arthur Hill will start with pretty good field position. Bill, you mentioned that Catholic Central wasn't going to do anything to hurt themselves. This team and Arthur Hill, frankly, have 2 of the best turnover ratios we've run into. Catholic Central plus 19 on the season.
Well, on the regular season in 1 playoff game, a total of just 5 turnovers, Mark. That is just excellent football.
In 10 games. Arthur Hill, no slouch. They're plus 13. And as a team, they have 17 interceptions. DeJuan Lyle runs into a sea of blue helmets. He is forward to about the 42. Gain of 2. It'll be 2nd down 8.
Tate Dobbs in there helping to make the stop, along with Joe Herman, the 2 linebackers for Catholic Central. Those are very active linebackers in this 52 defense that Catholic Central throws at you. They line up about 3-4 yards back of the ball, and boy, they come a house of fire.
2nd down 8, 3 wide receivers for Marvin Wright, the quarterback. He'll dive it to DeJuan Lyle again. And good for another 2 or 3 yards out near the 45, where it'll be 3rd and still about 5.
And this time it's Big Joe Shuhaida making the stop. 6'3", 245 pounds, a senior. Another one of those all-state candidates for Catholic Central. Comes in with about 94 tackles and 6 sacks, 5 deflected passes. Boy, what a great defensive prospect he is.
Wright will keep it. Squirts through a little hole, and Wright may go all the way. Marvin Wright, touchdown. 55 yards, Marvin Wright, the quarterback keeper.
Well, Brady Pankow, the only defensive back that had a chance to catch up with Marvin Wright. Marvin Wright keeps the ball, slips inside here. Here's the fake. Follows his back right up in the same hole. Good strength there as he pulls away from a potential tackler, outruns the linebacking core. Now the only guy between him and the goal line is Brady Pankow. Brady's going to catch him right at the corner, but Marvin Wright able to get the ball over the goal line. 6 points for the Lumberjacks.
Bill, the folks in Saginaw talk about Marvin Wright the same. Here come the Lumberjacks. They lead 12-7, trying for the 2-point conversion that will stretch their lead to a full 7. Marvin Wright is hit, loses the football, and Catholic Central recovers. Well, Marvin Wright never had a chance to spin out. Somebody penetrated and got his ankles.
Well, down underneath, I saw number 30, Paul Nimzik, and it looked as though he just kind of dove down from underneath in his nose spot and gets the leg of quarterback Marvin Wright, and his right fakes and then tries to come out of there with the ball. He just can't go anywhere, Mark. He ends up flat on his back and loses the ball.
I tell you, that replay is worth even another look, as if you'll just watch to the right of the center, you'll see the nose man, Paul Nemzek, 6 foot, 235-pound senior, and you're right. He just dives through a seam and grabs the ankle.
Right there, you can see it. Great camera work downstairs, and you can see Marvin Wright's just going nowhere as Paul Nemzek, 6 foot, 235 pounds, super quick move and a great defensive play.
Marvin Wright is supposed to reverse spin out of there and run option with Howard Foster as his pitch man, and Howard Foster could do nothing but look down and say, no, not going to work. Arthur Hill scores the touchdown, but the conversion's turned away, and so the lead is 5. Arthur Hill 12, Catholic Central 7. 5:35 still to play in this first half. Boy, this has been an entertaining football game, hasn't it?
Boy, it has been great. We've seen great defensive stands already, and we've seen both teams move the ball offensively. This is just a display of some great talent, 2 great high school programs going head to head. Catholic Central, the defending Class AA champion in 1990, came in here and lost 13-12 to this same Saginaw Arthur Hill squad. This year it's Arthur Hill coming in as the defending champion, and here come the Shamrocks once again. So what a great matchup and a great ball game.
You know, so often, especially in the high school ranks where you turn over talent yearly, you can get to a rematch and it can be a little disappointing. Doesn't look like that's going to be the case here.
No, it sure doesn't. Some great talent returning, and a senior-dominated team on both sides of the field. But when you have programs that are as good as these, and those people that are down below, those juniors, get a lot of playing time, just seems that year after year, these teams will be back here with a chance to play in the Silverdome.
Marvin Wright looks like he might even be limping a little bit on that leg. Looks fine running up to boot the football and gets a great leg into it. Pankow chased back to his 3. And manages to get it out to the 20.
Well, a good return by Pankow as he took the ball almost at the goal line, gets it back to the 20. Good kick coverage by the Lumberjacks as Pankow, a dangerous back in his own right, good quickness, turns here to the outside, finds himself heading for the sidelines and is forced to cut back inside where the defenders meet him head on.
So they'll mark the football as if it had bounced into the end zone right at the 20-yard line, and Detroit will start 1st and 10. They have just over 5 minutes left here first half to work, and they trail 12-7. Chris Barbara has the pro set behind him, and a little reverse action to John Rash. And Rash has 15-16 yards down the sideline. Got a good block from quarterback Chris Barbara.
Well, some great deception on the part of Chris Barbara. Look here as he fakes the ball. You see Fred Taylor with it. Now here comes the reverse back, John Rash. He's got Chris Barbara out in front of him, throws a block on the cornerback. Rash able to turn up the sidelines, picks up big yardage before he's driven out of bounds.
Well, both coaches are using the whole playbook.
Boy, they are. This is a great ball game, Mark. Very few mistakes. I think we've had one 15-yard penalty, and that's it.
Now Catholic Central with the one-back situation. Option right. Taylor is the pitch man. Spins away from one tackler, and I think finally gets near the line of scrimmage. But a nice run just to get back and lose maybe a yard.
Well, this time Fred Taylor in a position to lose about 5 yards, but there's the spin move you described, Mark. He comes back up, picks up about 6 yards after being trapped in the backfield, turns the play into just about a yard loss. Could have been 6 or 7.
2nd down 11 facing Catholic Central. Barbara looks downfield. Breaking open is the man Pankow inside the 10 and down to the 5. Brady Pankow, the senior, got behind the secondary. Barbara delivered a strike to him, and it's 1st and goal, Catholic Central.
Well, this is just great football. Chris Barbara on the run, delivering the ball to Pankow, who's behind Andy Davila, who's the defensive back. Davila with enough speed to catch up with Pankow, drops him to the turf at about the 4-yard line. Oh, what a great play that time by Chris Barbara, able to spot his receiver while he's on the dead run and deliver the ball perfectly.
Right side, Catholic Central. Fred Taylor bangs down to the 2, where it'll be 2nd and goal. The Shamrocks trying to retake the lead. Then Thrust and Perry here with Arthur Hill scoring, Catholic Central answering, Arthur Hill scoring, and CC a couple of yards away from answering and retaking the lead.
Well, back and forth as both teams show us some great offense when the chips are down.
2nd down goal. Up the middle, near the goal line goes Jason Krieger. He's in. Jason Krieger on the dive from 3 yards out. And Catholic Central out front 13-12.
Well, here's the little fake pitch once again to Fred Taylor, and then hand the ball inside to Jason Krieger. He kind of picks his way for a little bit until he spots the opening, and he dives for that white chalk line, and you can see once again Jason Krieger didn't get in the end zone, but the ball penetrated that goal line, and that's all you have to do to put your 6 points on the board.
Adam Borchert has the extra point, and with 3:01 still to play in the first half, plenty of time for that Arthur Hill offense. It's 14-12, Catholic Central out front.
Well, Mark, just as you described, this has been thrust and parry as we see the offenses go just toe-to-toe here against each other. Catholic Central answering offensively each time that the Lumberjacks have put points on the board and taken the lead. On their first possession, Catholic Central went absolutely nowhere. Gave up the ball. The Lumberjacks scored. Catholic Central on their next possession, a beautiful offensive drive to score. Lumberjacks come back, put it in the end zone. They take the lead, and now once again the Shamrocks have put themselves back up by 2 points, 14-12. Just 3:01 left in this first half.
Folks saw on the sideline there number 18 Marvin Wright, the Arthur Hill quarterback, getting some instructions from the coaching staff. And you can bet, Bill, with a little more than 3 minutes left to play here, barring horrendous field position on this kickoff, Marvin Wright's going to try and make something happen.
Well, these two teams can make something happen, Mark, at any time on the field. We have seen some great athletic moves on the part of both squads. Once again, the Lumberjacks a little bit more offensive-minded and maybe a little quicker of the two teams, and they are just dangerous from any spot on the field and with a number of people. We've seen Marvin Wright break loose right up the middle on the little quarterback keeper. We've seen Howard Foster break loose on the outside and get down the sidelines. We know that Marvin Wright can throw the ball. We know there's a great receiver, number 80, Kedrick Redeemer, out there. He's caught over 27 passes already this season, so lightning can strike at any time.
Adam Borchert will boot it away. Great kick will be fielded back at about the 1 yard line by Marvin Wright. And Marvin Wright across the 20 and maybe gets to the 21-22. Pretty good special teams play out here today as well.
Well, we've seen some great kicking on these kickoffs, and then coming downfield, the cover teams have done an excellent job of covering the whole field. Most of the time after a kickoff, we've seen the ball being placed right around the 20-yard line. And that's what you'd love to do defensively, is make a team go 80 yards against you every time they get the ball.
Marvin Wright, 6'2", 197 pounds, and a senior, leads them up. Has thrown for about 900 yards, run for 700 or 800 this year. Tries that same play that gave him a touchdown a few moments ago, and this time the CC defense is there after a 1 yard gain.
Well, Marvin Wright simply takes the ball from under center, fakes just a little bit to a dive back right over the guard hole, just turns and takes the ball right up behind that back, who actually becomes a blocker for him. But that time, that big front defensive wall for the Shamrocks, Joe Shuhaida, Paul Nemsick, Aaron Babbitts, stuffed that one up, just made a big pile of white jerseys right there, no place to go.
2nd down 8, Kedrick Redeemer, the standout wide receiver for Arthur Hill, is in the slot right. They're looking for him over the middle. He's got it. Kedrick Redeemer. It's a foot race now, and it'll be 77 yards and a touchdown.
Oh my! Turnaround, I guess, is what you call it in this game. This time it's Marvin Wright. A little fake inside, little play action pass, steps back, finds his favorite receiver, Kedrick Redeemer, who is well beyond the defense. Great speed. Redeemer takes the ball over his left shoulder, heads for the end zone at full gallop, puts another 6 points on the board for the Lumberjacks. Beautiful play, beautiful pass. Marvin Wright to Kedrick Redeemer.
3 wide outs. And Marvin Wright will look to throw, and has Sam Sword on the 2-point conversion.
Well,
This time it's Sam Sword from the other side of the offensive line. Sam is 6'2", got that big reach. Marvin Wright sees him. Sam Sword up in the air in front of the defender. The defender is Corey McKinney, who's only 5'9", and Sam Sword at 6'2", just no contest, as Sword able to take the ball well up over his head for the two-point conversion.
Well, Catholic Central's turn again. They have 90 seconds left here in this first half, and Marvin Wright will step up and boot it away. Marvin Wright's day is probably looking pretty good already, with a 55-yard touchdown run and a 77-yard touchdown pass. Wright's kick back to the 1-yard line goes Brady Pankow. And he's out to about the 28-29 with it, 1st and 10, Catholic Central. Well, tell you what, the Shamrocks are running out on the field like they want to do something here too.
Well, I don't think they're done by any means. They've got 1:29 seconds here. They've got the ball out to the 29-yard line on that fine return by Grady Pankow as he took the ball at the 1, brought it back real nice, Mark. He was just one tackler away from getting loose.
Chris Barbara, the senior quarterback, joins the team, as does Brady Pankow, number 21, the receiver who got loose earlier. Found some running room. Steve Bork is in at wide receiver as well. This is the tight end, Joe Lopez. Has first down yardage across the 40, near the 41. Clock shows 55 seconds left here first half. It'll stop while they move the chains.
Well, a little play action pass. This time it's Chris Barbara who fakes a little dive inside, then turns the other way and finds his tight end, Joe Lopez. Lopez 6'1" and 205 pounds. A nice target out there for Barbara as he comes from his tight end position just straight down the field. Enough yards for the first down. That stops the clock. And the Shamrocks, Mark, they're not going to stop here at all. They're taking use of their timeouts. They're offensive-minded at this point in the ball game. They know they're going to have to score as many times as possible, and you just don't want to waste any offensive possessions.
You know, I'm not sure if Tom Mack at Detroit Catholic Central expected he might find himself in a ball game like this. His defense hasn't given up more than 2 scores all year. Here we are, still first half, and they trail 20-14 and find themselves needing 3 scores just to stay even.
Sure, the Lumberjacks are well beyond that by now. As we know, just 2 plays, well over 130 yards. So the defense back on its heels a little bit for the Shamrocks, and that puts the burden on their offense. They got to put points on the board.
Well, I'll be interested to see, but I would guess that Arthur Hill has 200 yards in total offense first half. Barbara wants to throw. He's hit and incomplete. Officials say the arm was moving forward. Incomplete pass.
Well, I'm not sure who that was defensively that got in there. I saw a 4 on the number, Mark, and I can't find who it was, but there was a great pass rush put on from an outside position, a defensive end, I believe. I believe it's number 44.
I think you're right.
Alfonso Boone, who is not on my starting lineup but is in there right now. Maybe a special defensive player, maybe a great pass rusher, and he certainly was potent on that one.
Alfonso Boone, 6'5", 250, a sophomore. 2nd down 10, Catholic Central. They want to throw again. This one tipped by at least one Arthur Hill player. I'm pretty sure that Blue Bartis got his hands on that one. There's a great name.
Well, there's the end on the other side now. He's seen that little quick pass to the tight end before, and this time he takes a good defensive position and is able to just get a hand on the ball and knock it down before Joe Lopez came open.
47 seconds still to play here first half from the Silverdome. Class AA state championship game between Detroit Catholic Central and Saginaw Arthur Hill. Right now it's Arthur Hill 20, Catholic Central 14, but CC has the football. Barbara to throw. And is sacked, loss of 2 or 3. Among others, again in there is number 44, Alfonso Boone.
Well, great pass rush once again defensively by the Lumberjacks. Of course, they know at this point in the ball game, with only 42 seconds left, that Catholic Central is going to have to throw the ball. A penalty on that play, also holding on Catholic Central, and that has been declined. That'll turn the down box over, bring up 4th down and about 13.
4th down, the clock is moving, and Catholic Central still has 1 timeout left. They may let this clock move for a while.
I think they might trade a 5-yard penalty for a few more seconds off the clock, Mark, and then end up punting the ball and giving possession to the Lumberjacks one more time.
Well, you're right. They do wait, get the flag. Delay of game stops it with 16 seconds left. And now we'll punt. Steve Gusfa will boot it away. Andy Davila is deep. Looks like the block is coming. It is. And Davila gets a great kick away. And this will roll inside the 10, inside the 5. Don't stand in the end zone, young man. Downs it at the 1-foot line.
Well, a great punt as the Lumberjacks elect to go for the block. Don't even try to return the punt, as the one safety back to catch the punt simply started upfield as soon as it was kicked, knowing he would have no blockers. And I'm sure that the Lumberjacks are just going to be content to get that 1 second off the clock up there.
Yep, the officials are signaling, let's roll it, roll the clock, and there it goes. And Arthur Hill won't run another play. We have reached halftime in a fast-moving and very entertaining Class AA state championship game. Arthur Hill out front 20-14. This is the MHSAA on Pass. Back at the Silverdome, where the Catholic Central Marching Band is on the field. We will hear from them in a moment. I'm Mark Crawford, joined as always by the old coach Bill Brandell. And Coach, that entertaining enough for you?
Well, you can't get much better than that, as they say, Mark. Great offensive football on the part of both teams. I have to admit, I did not expect this much scoring. These teams are excellent football teams and normally great defensive units. Catholic Central only gives up 8 points a ball game. On the other side of the field, just 10 points a ball game for the Lumberjacks. We've already got a score of 20-14. Just great plays.
Boy, some outstanding individuals offensively as well out there.
Certainly are. The quarterbacks for both teams showing a great deal of athletic ability as they're running the ball themselves. They're throwing the ball right on the money and just able to run the complete offense that's in their package.
All right, we got a great second half coming up, and we'll see the bands in just a moment. One of your network sponsors is Health Alliance Plan. Back at the Dome, halftime. Arthur Hill 20, Catholic Central 14. And for your entertainment, the Detroit Catholic Central Shamrock Marching Band.
Just a moment. One of your network sponsors is Farm Bureau Insurance.
Back at the Silverdome, final moments of our halftime show here. Class AA state championship game. Arthur Hill 20, Redford, Detroit Catholic Central 14. I'm Mark Crawford, along with the old coach Bill Brandell. A first half that has featured plenty of offense, coach. More than 200 yards for Arthur Hill, about 190 for Redford Catholic Central.
Mark, certainly a lot more offense than I expected in this ball game. Usually these Class AA games are defensive-dominated games, but we're going to have a chance to see a couple of the scoring plays. The first one we'll see is Catholic Central. Jason Krieger here takes the ball from quarterback Chris Barbara and just finds a small seam right over his right side guard tackle area, spots the goal line and dives towards it and is able to get the ball just to the goal line. And that's the 6 points at the end of that fine drive by Catholic Central. It's been one of those answer the call situations for these two teams. Our next scoring play comes on a long pass play, this time for the Lumberjacks. Marvin Wright finds Kedrick Redeemer way downfield and well behind the defensive backs. Kedrick Redeemer turns on his jets, and you'll see that he'll just finally make it to the end zone as a defender unable to catch up with him. That left about 1:30 on the scoreboard, and that's the way we ended the first half.
Coach, we have talked about the idea of thrust and parry out here all game long, and it's been the offenses taking turns banging away at the other team's defense.
Well, it has, and the offense is using a lot of different weapons, Mark. It's not just the running game by one team. It's passing, it's running, it's inside, it's outside, it's quarterback keeps, it's pitches to fast halfbacks. We've seen it all. Just a great first half.
Tell me what in the world the coaching staffs are doing here in the locker room at the halftime then. Are they spending most of their time on defense?
Well, I think you have to. You got to give your defense a wake-up call. That last long pass play, for instance, coming at the end of the first half by the Lumberjacks. With that much time left on the clock, defensive backs are supposed to know, hey, you play things a little safe, you stay deep. So, yeah, give that defense a wake-up call. Say, hey, guys, we got to shape it up.
All right, we're going to have a great second half of football for you. This is the MHSAA on Pass.
I'm sure that the defensive coaches for these two squads had a little talk with those defensive units. And you're right, Mark, a key as we see Arthur Hill ahead on the scoreboard right now, 20-14. Should they come out and take the ball offensively, march it smartly down the field and put some more points on the board, that puts Catholic Central in a bind. Right now, their offense really only one score away from putting them back in front. And so that's kind of a comfortable position to be in when you have a seesaw-type ball game. What you don't want to do is fall two scoring opportunities behind.
The MHSAA went to a two-day 36-hole tournament to determine its boys golf champions in the Lower Peninsula this fall. And we'd like to congratulate the champions Rochester in Class A, Bloomfield Hills Andover in Class B, Detroit Country Day in Class C, and Portland St. Patrick in Class D. The same format will be used to determine the Lower Peninsula girls champions in June, and those meets will take place in East Lansing.
Well, Portland St. Patrick with another championship in this football series of games, Mark. Must be quite an athletic powerhouse. Golf champions and now the Class D football champions for 1992.
John Farina, who's working with us up here in the booth for next June's girls championships. Will the new Forest Acres course be open then? Will be open. So it opens this coming spring then. CC boots it away, going to bounce around at about the 12 or 13. Fielded by Lyle, and he's out to about the 25. Boy, there was some tough going. They hoped for a moment it would bounce out of bounds, decided it wouldn't. DeJuan Lyle came very close to stepping out of bounds back there at about the 12.
Well, he hands the ball to Marvin Wright here and says, hey, Marv,
take it.
You're Mr. Everything, you do it. And Marvin Wright makes good of the opportunity, Mark, as he brings it back upfield a good 10, 11 yards. It ends up at about the 25-yard line.
Well, Marvin Wright was at least facing the right direction. He was going north, I guess, and DeJuan Lyle was headed south. 1st and 10 for Arthur Hill. They'll start at their own 25-yard line. 3 wide outs and an I formation behind quarterback Marvin Wright. They'll run option right side. Foster has room and picks up 16 across the 40 to the 41.
Well, Marvin Wright with some great faking right up in the middle once again. There you see his dive back just get smashed at the line of scrimmage, but he doesn't have the ball. Marvin Wright has it, pitches it back to Howard Foster. Foster out and around the outside once again, picks up the first down.
6 carries, 73 yards now for Howard Foster. Averaging 12 yards a carry in this ball game. It's 1st and 10 for Arthur Hill. Same formation, 3 wide outs and an I formation behind. This time they'll throw, or want to throw anyway, and Marvin Wright finally flings it out of bounds. Great play.
Well, I think Marvin Wright threw that one to his girlfriend up in the stands. He had no chance to deliver the ball to an open receiver, and that's the sign of a smart quarterback. Get rid of it when you know you're going to be sacked. You know you don't have a good chance to get the ball to your own receiver. Don't take the chance with the interception. Don't throw it in a position where there's a defensive back. And that time Marvin Wright smartly just getting rid of the ball.
2nd down 10 facing Arthur Hill. We are just underway in the second half from the Pontiac Silverdome. Arthur Hill 20, Detroit Catholic Central 14. It has been a very entertaining rematch of last year's state championship game. Arthur Hill won that one 13-12. Option, and this time it's going to be Marvin Wright with lots of room. And Wright carries into Catholic Central territory and down to the 42. CC has seen so much of Howard Foster on the pitch that everybody covered him this time, Bill.
Well, there was just all kinds of room, and here you see Marvin Wright spots it. Boy, you give him that opportunity, he'll keep the ball. He's not going to pitch it to anybody. Finally, it's Kenneth Rice that's able to come up, put the stopper on him, but another nice gain for the Lumberjacks. They're starting out right where they left off, Mark. That offense is rolling again.
Marvin Wright, 6 carries, 84 yards on his evening's work. It's 1st and 10 Arthur Hill. Into the ball game at quarterback is Davila. Sends it right up the middle. Maybe 2 yards. And Marvin Wright over here on the sideline, I can see bent over and seems to be just kind of stretching. I think he's all right.
Well, he kind of got bent over on that option keeper as he came around the corner. He was hit by 2 defensive backs. One of them, Kenneth Rice, he got him kind of low. Another defender kind of high and twisted Marvin Wright. I'm sure he'll be back before too long.
Davila, 5'10", 155, and a senior. 2nd down 8, Arthur Hill. Goes left side. Howard Foster bangs it inside the 40 and down near the 39, where it'll be 3rd down and long. 3rd and about 7 facing Arthur Hill. And Marvin Wright gets the call and checks back into the game.
Well, a definite difference, Mark, in the profile of the offense with Andy Davila in there, as things got very conservative for 2 plays, and probably rightfully so. A fresh quarterback, you don't want to make any mistakes. Marvin Wright back at the controls now.
Little trouble as Wright bangs into his running back, DeJuan Lyle, and that kind of messes up the play. Eventually they pick up perhaps a yard.
Well, defensively down underneath, I saw Aaron Babbitt's a good stop as he stacked up the dive back and then was able to make Marvin Wright kind of peel back and go around. By that time, some help defensively. One of the few times we've seen Marvin Wright stopped for little or no gain.
So that's who it was that kind of came in there cross body there, Aaron Babbitts, and stopped them both up. 4th down they'll go. 4th and 6. Line to make is the 32. Lots of room. Howard Foster. 1st down. Foster carries to the 25. A gain of 13.
And once again, Howard Foster. Here's the pitch on the option play. Marvin Wright runs into the defensive ends, delivers the ball on the little pitch to his pitch man, Howard Foster. Foster outside once again. Boy, give him a little bit of room, Mark. Put him one-on-one with a defensive back, and you got big trouble.
Foster now 8 carries, 88 yards, and it's a 1st and 10 for the Lumberjacks as they march on Catholic Central. Run the dive play in the middle to DeJuan Lyle. Picks up a couple. And Bill, explain to folks at home, really, even if you aren't making a lot of yardage, you need to keep running that play to keep the defense honest.
Well, just that, Mark. You've described it right on the head. Those linebackers that are inside are very active for Catholic Central. And you have to probe the inside. You have to make those guys stay honest. Don't let them bail out against the option play to get out there on the quarterback and on the pitch man. So you constantly have to remind those linebackers that we've got a weapon inside here. In this case, it's DeJuan Lyle who comes up inside to do that.
Here's the option again. Foster. First down at the 11. Gain is 11 for Howard Foster.
Once again, it's Kenneth Rice that'll put the hammer on Howard Foster, but there's Foster picking up the big yardage. Watch number 25 come in there, also number 32 defensively. Tate Dobbs from a linebacker spot, but you notice how late Tate Dobbs got over there. That's one of those indications, again, that linebackers have to stay home. They first have to protect inside against the dive back. That allows those pitchbacks some room out there to make yardage against defensive backs.
Ball is spotted at the Catholic Central 11. 1st and 10 for Arthur Hill. Keeper by quarterback Marvin Wright. Dragged down from behind after he picks up a yard or two. Joe Lopez was there from his end spot. It'll be 2nd down. It's not 2nd and goal, as Arthur Hill could pick up a 1st down at about the 1. Clock is moving. We are midway through this 3rd quarter. Arthur Hill has controlled the ball now for better than 6 minutes, taking the opening kickoff of this 2nd half.
Well, these two teams with very few mistakes and not a lot of passing. This game is going to be over in very short order.
Marvin Wright leads him up. 3 wide outs again in the I formation behind him. Keeps it himself, tries kind of a little counter play by himself. All the motion to the right, fumbles it, say the officials, and a huge break. Catholic Central recovers.
Well, Paul Nimsick comes up with the ball. You can see him celebrating there on the sidelines. And boy, was that a big play for Catholic Central as the Lumberjacks knocking on the door. There's the fake. Here's the keep now by Marvin Wright. He comes up inside and he's surrounded, and you can see Paul Nimsick, he just took the ball away. He says, hey, where are you going with that? That's mine. I want to go the other way. Paul Nimsick, a big defensive play from his nose position.
So the 6-minute drive leaves Arthur Hill empty-handed, and now it's Catholic Central the other direction on that little reverse again to Rash. He'll pick up 1st down yardage and carry out to about the 25, where it's 1st and 10 CC.
Well, Mark, it's obvious that the Shamrocks are beginning to take advantage of the quickness and the flow to the ball that the Lumberjacks have been using defensively all day. They're using a lot of deception and a lot of reverse plays. They're trying to get the defense to flow in one direction, which is just what the Lumberjacks do. They're not very big. They use their quickness and they just scream to the ball. If you use deception, reverse plays, you can get around them sometimes by going in the opposite direction.
Chris Barbara, the senior quarterback, number 10, has a pro set behind him. He'll pitch right side to Taylor. Room for Taylor across the 30 and out near the 33-yard line before Sword wraps him up. The gain is about 8. I'll tell you how hard we're hitting out here on the field, Bill. A lot of these young men are having their decals ripped off their helmets.
Well, a good bit of running this time by Fred Taylor as he eludes 2 tackles, one in his own backfield and then one at about the line of scrimmage. Finally runs into Sam Sword just kind of head on, and Sword wrestles him to the ground, but a good bit of yardage by Fred Taylor.
Clock ever moving as we keep it on the ground both ways. 4.5 still to play in the 3rd quarter. That dive play again to Krieger as they fake the pitch to Fred Taylor. Late flag is tossed.
And I think we're going to get a late hit on that, Mark, as Jason Krieger kind of leaning over the top of a pile of bodies, and another one of the Lumberjacks came in and put a shoulder to him, and I believe that's the call.
Yeah, personal foul, 15 yards is called against Arthur Hill. that penalty perhaps more a sign of the intensity down on the field than anything else.
Well, Jason Krieger was not down, Mark. He was still in a standing position. He was leaning on a pile of bodies, and I'm sure the official was blowing him dead right there. That's obvious. But the defensive player, as you said, with all the intensity in the world, sees the ball carrier not on the ground yet, comes in, puts a shoulder on him.
1st and 10, Catholic Central. There's the counter play to Rash, and Rash finds running room 5 or 6 yards across midfield and down into Arthur Hill territory. 3:40 still to play 3rd quarter. It's Arthur Hill 20. Redford Detroit Catholic Central 14. 2nd down and 4 facing the Shamrocks of CC.
Roosevelt Austin on that last stop from his linebacker spot. Austin is 6 foot, 222-pound senior. Boy, what nice sized linebackers for the Lumberjacks. Sword at 219 pounds, Austin at 222 pounds.
Barbara has Rash in motion, will pitch left side to Taylor, and Taylor cannot sprint quickly enough to elude Sam Sword, who gets him by the ankles and drags him down after a gain of 2.
There's that athletic ability again. Sam Sword at 6'2", 219 pounds, comes from an inside linebacker position and is able to catch up with Fred Taylor on the pitch before hardly any gain at all, Mark. Great defensive play.
Sam Sword is just a junior.
Boy, he's going to be a dandy. Calling the defensive signals right there. You get a nice shot of him. He's a fine athlete and a great prospect.
3rd down, about 2 for Catholic Central. Left side, 1st down yardage, Fred Taylor, the little dipsy-do that got him the 1st down. As Taylor looked like he was going to be bottled up, showed somebody a little leg here and then cut it outside right there.
Well, he dips inside, as you said, gives him the limp leg. And there you can see the tackle. Oh, I lost it. Deverett Gator. Couldn't find him on my list here. Deverett Gator making the stop.
It's a 1st and 10 for Catholic Central. Mark the football down at the 37 now of Arthur Hill, as it's the Shamrocks now marching ever closer to retaking the lead. Same back again, Fred Taylor running hard. Line of scrimmage and not much more. There's 2 more games remaining in our coverage of the 1992 MHSAA football finals. Thursday night at 7:30, it's the Class Double C finals, pitting Montague against Detroit St. Martin de Porres. We wind it up on Saturday with the Class Double D clash between Oxford and Grand Rapids Kenowa Hills at 4 p.m. Stay with us again this week as the best in high school championship sports coverage continues here on Pass. Shamrocks on 2nd down 10. This might be a pass. Taylor will throw. Has a man open. Brady Pinkow, touchdown. Halfback option, 37 yards and a TD, and we're tied at 20.
Oh, what a beautiful play. Fred Taylor, once again, we got to credit Fred Taylor. He takes this pitch. He handles the ball like he's going to pass it, but then pulls it back down. Finally, he does get himself free, and he's able to deliver the ball deep to his receiver, Brady Pinkow, who is well behind the defender once again and is able to take the ball on into the end zone. Good bit of deception. Great athletic ability shown by Fred Taylor as he takes the pitch, fakes the run, and delivers the ball on the money for the touchdown.
Extra point is good. Catholic Central back up by 1, 21-20. One of your network sponsors is True Value Hardware. Mark Crawford, Bill Brandell, our whole crew here at the Silverdome. Glad you are with us. Class AA state championship game, and it's a dandy. Catholic Central has just scored to go back on top 21-20. There is an injured player on the field, as you can see. One of the Arthur Hill players. Looks like number 75 down on the field, Greg Price.
And well, as they examine Greg Price, Mark, what a big turnabout, that theft by Paul Nemsick on the football down at the other end of the field. The Lumberjacks marching the ball on their first possession of the second half, just ready to go into the end zone. But Paul Nemsick, that's actually a felony the way he took the ball down there. And did it turn into a big play? Some great offense by Catholic Central, helped by a 15-yard penalty. And then finally the halfback pass as Fred Taylor finds his teammate Brady Pankow wide open. And Catholic Central gets themselves back on top here, 21-20.
Well, the champions in girls tennis were crowned in October, and we'd like to recognize the 5 schools that won MHSAA titles. The Upper Peninsula champions were Escanaba in Class AB and Iron River West Iron County in Class CD. In the Lower Peninsula, the winners were Ann Arbor Pioneer in A, East Grand Rapids in B, Detroit Country Day in Class CD. And you can see Greg Price will go off the field and is not putting any weight on that left leg. And here's the touchdown again, Bill.
This is the halfback pass, and I think the thing that makes this go is Fred Taylor not showing the pass right away. Mark, you called it early, but you could see it from up here. From the defensive back's point of view, Fred Taylor kept the ball down and really did not show pass too early. That allowed his teammate Brady Pankow to streak down the field and get behind the defense. Then Taylor able to get out to the sidelines and was able to deliver the pass. Not a thing of beauty, not a spiral, but certainly a beautiful 6 points for the Shamrocks.
Howard Foster on the return from his own 5 and fights to get back to the 20. Kick return coverage has really been tough out here today.
Well, these teams well coached in all aspects of the game. Good defense, good offense, good special teams. We've seen excellent kicking, place kicking and punting. And you can just credit the coaching staffs. Also credit the fine athletes on both of these squads, Mark, as they do all of the special things very well.
We are in the final minute of the third quarter. Catholic Central 21, Arthur Hill 20, but Arthur Hill has it back again. Marvin Wright with the I formation behind him. Runs option and might have a yard or two as Marvin Wright is stacked up, and it's Jason Krieger, the 190-pound senior, who makes the tackle.
Well, it's really interesting to watch these two squads, Mark. You just wonder which team is going to kind of cave in first here, as they just seem to answer every challenge that comes up. One team goes out in front, the other one comes right back and scores. And they've just done that back and forth through this whole ball game.
5 seconds left here, third quarter, and so it'll take a quick snap for Arthur Hill, and they will not get another play off. We have finished 3 stanzas of play here at the Silverdome. Catholic Central by a point. This is the MHSAA on Pass. 17th year, the Michigan High School Athletic Association football playoffs have been here at the Pontiac Silverdome. And we've got a dandy as we head to the fourth quarter. Detroit Catholic Central over Arthur Hill by 1, but it's Arthur Hill with the football, 2nd down 8. And Marvin Wright, number 18, the senior quarterback, a magician trying to make something happen. Out in the flats and finds his receiver, Robert Holmes. He fumbles but falls on the football at the 35. I think Holmes has the football, and it'll be a 13-14 yard gain, good for the first down.
Once again, great athleticism by Marvin Wright as he can't find a receiver. Now watch, he kind of sidearms this ball through an opening in tall defensive lineman there, able to find his receiver, number 40, Robert Holmes, who makes a nice catch on the ball, loses it when he makes contact, but is able to fall on it, and the Lumberjacks will retain possession.
1st and 10, Arthur Hill. Mark the football at their own 35. They are 65 yards away from retaking the lead. Marvin Wright goes left, comes back right. Now he's going to go left again. All of that for 7 yards. There is a flag back here, and Marvin Wright didn't mean to do it, but might have forced one of his linemen into a clip.
Well, I was going to say, Mark, I think probably it will be a clip, but just watch the moves of Marvin Wright. He's inside. He's outside. I'm going this way. No, I'm going back the other way. You can't catch me. Finally brought down over there. But as he goes back and forth in different directions, one of those blockers out in front of him ends up with a clip. So that one's going to go back, and that's going to hurt the Lumberjacks. But, boy, that was pretty to watch.
And in defense of those offensive linemen, it's very hard to block when you got a running back who's going east, then going west, then going east. Going to back it up all the way to the 19, where it's going to be first down and 26. Boy, that was a great athletic play by Marvin Wright.
It sure was. 2 plays in a row. Little sidearm pass between 2 defensive trees.
You know, there were probably 2 or 3 defenders who had 2 or 3 chances to tackle Marvin Wright on that play as he kept going by him. First down. They'll throw, have a man in the flats, Foster, and Foster turns the corner and picks up about 20 yards to the 40.
Well, defensively, Kenneth Rice makes the stopping tackle once again. Nice play inside. Marvin Wright then outside to Howard Foster, and Foster one-on-one with a defensive back is always dangerous. And there you see the last man again, Kenneth Rice. He's able to just grab an ankle and knock Foster out of bounds.
Oh, even first down and 26 is no problem for Arthur Hill as they work it down to 2nd and 4. This is a marvelous offensive football team, Arthur Hill. But they trail 21-20. They'll dive, and very near the first down sticks is DeJuan Lyle. It'll depend on the mark. 9:55 still to play from the Pontiac Silverdome in a game that perhaps deserves to go to overtime.
Well, Aaron Babbitt's defensively down inside. Makes the stop on that inside running play. Going to be just short of the first down. This is 3rd down and nothing.
Third and very short. Marvin Wright may well call his own number. Calls a timeout. Marvin Wright calls timeout. Stops the clock with 9:22 left to play in this one. 21-20. Catholic Central leads. One of your network sponsors is Health Alliance Plan. A view from the sidelines. Arthur Hill trailing by 1. Facing 3rd down and virtually nothing from their own 45. Power eye backfield. And I tell you what, I don't know.
Well, I know he didn't get there, Mark. That was some great defensive play as the line surge by the Catholic Central defense came across the ball. He just didn't make an inch, didn't make anything. Boom. Paul Nimsick once again. Joe Herman, the all-state linebacker once again. Boom. Boy, those two together put the stops.
4th down and still a few inches to go. And Arthur Hill will go for it at their own 45. Again, the power eye. Marvin Wright looking around, long counting, and this time they've got it. Howard Foster grabbed by the ankles, but kicks out and falls forward and has the first.
Well, Joe Herman from his linebacker spot came through, got an ankle on Foster, but Foster able to squeeze through a little opening in his offensive line, gets over that 45-yard line, almost to the 46. That was enough for the first down. That keeps this move, or this drive, moving for the Lumberjacks, and it's an important drive right now, Mark, as we're down to about 8 minutes in this ball game.
And by my stats anyway, that gives Howard Foster his 100 yards in the ball game. He was at 10 carries for 99 yards prior to that one. They'll throw and find Sword over the middle, who bangs into the secondary. Gain of about 14. 1st and 10.
Defensively, it's Kenneth Rice once again. He's got the job this time of bringing down Big Sam Sword. Once again, he's 6'2", 219 pounds, and just a junior. A great target out there for Marvin Wright as he comes from that end position.
And Bill, credit the offensive line for Arthur Hill, because Marvin Wright's not taking a standard drop there. He's taking one of those 1 or 2 steps.
Very, very short drop. Normally he fakes a little dive play and then just stands up and fires that ball to the end coming down the middle.
1st and 10, Arthur Hill down now at the 39 of Catholic Central as they drive and look for the lead score. Boy, there is nothing there at all for DeJuan Lyle on the dive.
Well, down underneath, there's got to be a white jersey in there somewhere, as somebody really stacked things up, and I couldn't exactly see who it was, Mark.
It's number 46.
Joe Herman.
Stop, Joe Herman.
Well, he's the big linebacker. He's the leader of this defense, calls the defensive signals for the Shamrocks, and he was right where he belonged on that one. He's a hitter.
They will give Arthur Hill perhaps a foot on that play, so 2nd and for all practical purposes still 10. The clock was 6:50 and counting still to play in regulation. I think he's down already. He is. Whistles sound as Marvin Wright managed to pitch the ball, but he's already laying on the ground before he did.
Mark, even when he's laying on the ground, he's got athletic moves. Watch this. He's falling down. He still throws the ball out there to his back.
Joe Shuhaida is the Catholic Central defender who fell on him. It's a loss of 3, 3rd and 13. Now again, if you're a Saginaw Arthur Hill fan, you have seen yourselves in this kind of situation many times this year, and Marvin Wright seems to find some magical way to pull every one of them out. He'll throw, and Sword can't hang on. It'll be 4th and 13.
Well, credit Tate Dobbs this time, the other linebacker. Joe Herman's playmate back there from his linebacker spot comes on a stunt. The good little fake inside by Marvin Wright once again draws the linebackers in, but this time Dobbs was coming anyway, forces the quick throw by Marvin Wright, and this time Sam Sword not quite able to catch up with the ball.
4th down 13, Arthur Hill. They trail 21-20 with 6 minutes left in the ball game. Perhaps the key play in this game right here. Marvin Wright, the quarterback, has an I formation behind him. They'll pitch, and Davila wants to throw. Can't. He's knocked out of bounds, and the ball goes over on downs.
Well, a little bit of trickery this time by the Lumberjacks as they pitch the ball back to Andy Davila, who's looking for a receiver downfield. And let's credit the defensive back, Kenneth Rice. He's the guy that's downfield and would just never release the offensive receiver, Mark. He stayed with him, stayed with him, stayed with him, and finally Davila found the sidelines, no place to go, and was driven out of bounds.
So Catholic Central takes over. They lead by 1, 21-20. That perhaps the first time in this game that team has not been able to respond and retake the lead, and CC would like to drive methodically downfield. Taylor, right side, has room. 1st down as he crosses midfield and into Arthur Hill territory. The gain is 13 for Fred Taylor. And Catholic Central smelling blood, going for the win.
Well, that describes it exactly, Mark. If Catholic Central can control the ball now for this last 5 minutes, 30 seconds, take it down and possibly put some more points on the board, that may seal the fate for the Lumberjacks. As we've said, you don't want to score, or you don't want to fall 2 scoring opportunities behind. Right now, the Shamrocks up by 1. A touchdown would mean that the Lumberjacks would have to have 2 scores.
Counter to the right, John Rash picks up 3 or 4. Coach, not necessarily true with the 2-point conversion. Catholic Central would have a choice to make. If they scored the touchdown, they'll be up by 7. The 1-point conversion would give them an 8-point lead, and Arthur Hill could still tie. The 2-point try could put it out of reach.
Well, exactly. With the 2-point conversion in high school ball, you have a lot of different situations come up. Key thing right now for the Lumberjacks is they got to get the ball back.
2nd down 5 for CC. Clock ever moving, shows 4:40. Taylor goes right, spins down after a gain of a couple, and it'll be 3rd down and about 3.
And here's a key play, a third down situation. Catholic Central wants to keep the ball. You sure don't want to give it back to the Lumberjacks, who've showed us a lot of lightning already today, Mark. You don't want them to have their hands on the ball again. Here's where you call on that big offensive line, those seniors that have been up there doing it for you all year long. You call on them. Let's do it again, guys. Get down, get dirty, get grimy. Let's get 3 yards.
Chris Barbara, the quarterback, parks out the signals, gives to the dive back, and Krieger will be marked inside the 35, which means first down.
And that was just exactly what they needed to do, Mark, and they did it. Right up the middle. Look at the offensive line surge. You can see the back picks up 2 yards before he's ever even touched by a defender. That's just great line play up front. Mike Greswack, Tony Rendazzo, Todd Lackey, Dan LeBeau, Aaron Babbitts. Those guys been doing it all day. What a workhorse group that is.
1st and 10, Catholic Central. This will be Taylor right side, spun down at the line of scrimmage, maybe has a yard, but the clock continues to move with 3:20 still to play. Both clubs have 2 timeouts left, and I would think Arthur Hill is not far away from having to use them, maybe right after this next play.
Well, the clock winding down.
Second and long, Catholic Central. They'll run that little reverse, and boy, Arthur Hill's ready for it this time. Rash has made yards all game long doing that, but not this time.
Well, James Moten from a defensive tackle position here. There he comes, makes great penetration, able to get an ankle, bring the ball carrier down. That's a big defensive play at this point in the ball game.
Player down and hurt on the field for Arthur Hill, though up already. Blue Bartis is up and doing fine. Arthur Hill has taken the timeout that stops the clock with 2:45 left, and they know the last stand is right here. It's 3rd down and 12. Facing Catholic Central with 2:45 to play. One of the programs sponsored by the Michigan High School Athletic Association, which truly underscores the value of educational athletics, is the Scholar Athlete Award, sponsored by Farm Bureau Insurance. Over 1,700 applications were received this year for the 23 $1,000 college scholarships, which will be presented. Applications for this year's awards are closed for the scholarship recipients to be honored at the boys basketball finals at the Palace of Auburn Hills in March. Students interested in applying for the Scholar Athlete Award for 93-94 should contact their high school principal. And we do have one of those Scholar Athlete nominees in this ball game, Steve Gusfa, number 73 for Catholic Central.
Well, the crowd comes to life, Mark, as this is a key play in this ball game. The Arthur Hill fans on our side urging the defense to make the stop.
3rd down, 12. Barbara rolls, eludes one tackler, fires, it's batted down. I'll tell you what, Sam Sword almost picked that one off.
Well, Sam Sword from a linebacker spot, playing pass defense, stays right in the area where he is supposed to. He will mirror the quarterback. He will stay in a drop position about 8 yards from the line of scrimmage and try to stay head up with the quarterback. In this situation, he finds the ball coming and is able to reach out a big hand and knock it down.
And for Arthur Hill, the incomplete pass stops the clock, saves them their last time out, and Catholic Central will punt. This will bounce at about the 10. Oh boy, just gets into the end zone. Looked for a minute like Arthur Hill was going to be pinned back inside their own 5, but it goes into the end zone, will come out to the 20. And Arthur Hill has 2 minutes, 28 seconds remaining. They trail 21-20, chasing the Class AA state championship.
Well, what a great way to come to the finish of this Class AA championship, Mark. So many weapons, as we said late in the first half of this ball game. Marvin Wright at quarterback, a weapon in his own right, not only to throw the ball, but also to run it. He's got a great receiver in Kedrick Redeemer. He's already hit him for about a 75-yard touchdown in this ball game. Anything can happen. Hold on. Here we go.
Kedrick Redeemer is in the slot on the close side of the field. Marvin Wright, the quarterback, barks out the signals, looks the other way. It's complete. Howard Foster spins out of a tackle and is taken down at the 39-yard line, 1st and 10.
And once again, guess who? From his free safety position, Kenneth Rice, the last man between Howard Foster and the goal line. There you see one defender, Dave Morelli, miss. Here comes Kenneth Rice. He's got him by the ankle down there, able to bring Foster to the ground. Another touchdown-saving tackle.
They'll mark the football at the 38 of Arthur Hill, 1st and 10. And even 2 minutes still to play in this one. Wright will look the other way now, incomplete. Wanted Howard Foster, but missed him. Howard Foster turned in, and perhaps Marvin Wright was throwing the out. Stops the clock with 1:55 left. Bill, you and I had the privilege of doing a ball game that's already aired here on Pass between Reeves Puffer and Walled Lake Western. 21-18 final. Reeves Puffer scored in the final half minute on a razzle-dazzle double reverse length of the field pass, tipped to a receiver who wasn't even in the right zone, who carried it in to score. We may have that kind of finish right here.
Well, we could have. We have those kinds of athletes on the field both ways. Don't forget to credit the Catholic Central defensive backs also. They're hot to pick one of these off.
Backup quarterback Andy Davila is in the ball game for Arthur Hill. This is a swing pass to Foster, and Foster will pick up 7-8 yards. If you're Catholic Central, on the plus side, you kept him in bounds, so the clock continues to move.
Well, obviously the Lumberjacks want the ball in the hands of Howard Foster. They're putting him in all different kinds of offensive formations, Mark. They'll split him way out, put him up on the line of scrimmage. They'll put him as a slot back. They'll put him as a wing back out to one side. They'll keep him in tight in the backfield. Any way they can, they're trying to get the ball to Howard Foster. Don't forget, Kedrick Redeemer, number 80, Marvin Wright's favorite receiver.
Down 3. Wright wants to throw. Pressure comes. He's hit as he tries to pass it to Kedrick Redeemer, and it's incomplete. Marvin Wright was hit as he threw the football, and that is the reason it was short.
Well, that was Tate Dobbs with the pressure on Marvin Wright, and let's give Marvin Wright some credit just to get that ball off as well as he did. It fell short of his intended receiver, Kedrick Redeemer, but he was throwing with a defender all over him.
Well, Arthur Hill in a regional final game was behind in the final minute of play. Twice had to convert on 4th downs to finally beat Grand Ledge. They're looking at 4th down right here. They need 3 yards in order to continue with the football and to have any chance at this AA title. They've got him. And out of bounds goes Howard Foster to stop the clock. Gain of 13. There is an even 1 minute to play.
Well, Dave Morelli is the defensive back called on to handle Howard Foster on the receiving end of this pass. Right over on the sidelines, Dave Morelli does the right thing as he maintains inside position on the receiver, forces the receiver to go to the out of bounds, doesn't let him turn back to the inside so that he can put that deep move on and head for the end zone.
1st and 10, Arthur Hill. They are 44 yards away from the end zone. Oh, Marvin Wright drops it, regains possession and goes down. Loss of 3 or 4. The clock is moving.
Tate Dobbs once again there to cover up on Marvin Wright along with Joe Shuhaida as Marvin Wright comes out from under center. He just simply dropped the ball. Not a good exchange. No, it was a good exchange. It was off the hip on his fake to the dive man. And there you see him covered by 2 of the Shamrocks.
30 seconds, all that remains. It's 2nd down, 15. Arthur Hill trails by a point. Pressure coming. Tries to throw, and they say forward pass incomplete.
Joe Herman coming on the stunt from a linebacker spot. Nobody touched him. Marvin Wright turns around to throw the pass, and he's got Big Joe Herman spinning him around by the jersey. He tries to throw the ball, actually ends up just throwing it right down into the ground as he was spun around by Joe Herman.
20 seconds, all that remains here at the Dome. Catholic Central 21, Arthur Hill 20. And Arthur Hill looking at third down. Last gasp time. And now timeout is called by Catholic Central as they're going to talk things over defensively. Well, it's a ball game that'll take your breath away, William, isn't it?
Well, it's taken my breath away and a lot of my voice so far, Mark. Once again, as you described, we've got the opportunity for one of those classic finishes. The Hail Mary pass, a definite possibility. We've got Kedrick Redeemer, who's 6 foot. He's a good target to throw the ball to down deep. He's nice and tall. Sam Sword is 6'2". And, of course, any time that Howard Foster gets his hands on the ball, you've got an opportunity to score. So lots of weapons, lots of things, lots of choices for the Lumberjacks in this situation, but obviously they need the big play.
The scoreboard shows Arthur Hill with no timeouts left. I'm not sure that that's correct. I think that they've just charged the timeout to Arthur Hill that should have been charged to Catholic Central. Because I believe both clubs had 2 timeouts just a few moments ago. In any case, it's third down and long. If you're Arthur Hill, we don't know a lot about the kicking game, Bill. We know that Marvin Wright, who does everything else, tried an extra point earlier in the game and didn't connect.
Well, they don't have a lot of stats for us on their kicking game, so I would say that's not one of their strong points. They're only behind by 1 point. And Mark, as you point up at the scoreboard, you were correct, and they have changed it up there. And we now see that Arthur Hill does have 1 timeout remaining, 20 seconds to go in this ball game.
Third down. Let's see what kind of magic Marvin Wright can come up with. Good protection. Looking for Kedrick Redeemer. Incomplete. Redeemer and one of the defensive players kind of banged as the football went over their head. Brady Pankow on the coverage, but I think that was uncatchable anyway.
Well, it was well over both players' head. There was a little contact, but Brady Pankow going for the ball, Mark. His arm was outstretched. He was reaching up, trying to knock the ball down. So a good no call by the official. When the ball is in the air, both players have a right to go for it. It's no possession at that time. There's no offense or defense, really. And so you can actually have contact without interference as long as you're going for the ball.
Well, once again, it's fourth down facing Arthur Hill. They need 14 yards to earn the first down. They have only 13 seconds left in the game. Marvin Wright, good protection. Guns it over the middle. Kedrick Redeemer drops the football. Might have been gone. And the difference between a state championship for Catholic Central and Arthur Hill is just that close.
Well, Mark, Kenneth Rice took a chance, took a gamble, cut in front of the intended receiver, Kedrick Redeemer, and he tips the ball, blinds the receiver slightly. Kedrick Redeemer is able to get a hand on it, but they're not able to pull it in. Oh, my goodness. What a play. Great defense. My, oh, my, oh, my. How close can you come?
Well, you see Kedrick Redeemer's teammates consoling him, telling him good play, and it was a great effort on his part to knock the ball in the air and almost come up with it. But the ball goes over on downs with 5 seconds left, and Catholic Central need only take the snap and run a play that takes at least 5 seconds, and they will return the state championship to Arthur Hill.
Well, Mark, how many times this weekend are we going to see a situation where both teams are just great teams and there's just no losers? This has been such a fantastic game. You gotta feel sorry for the team that loses, but what a great effort, and by no means are they losers. Boy, this one will hurt, but as you've said a number of times, tomorrow or the day after, it will become a realization of just what was accomplished and what a fine effort they gave today.
Well, last year it was Arthur Hill Hill beating Catholic Central 13-12 by 1 point, and Catholic Central here will return the favor. They will simply snap to Chris Barbara, who will go down on one knee. And the ball game is over. Oh, what a terrific game. Redford Detroit Catholic Central, your Class AA state champions. They defeat Arthur Hill 21-20. We'll be back to the Dome in a moment on the MHSAA Network on Pass. Back at the Silver Dome, third state championship for Redford Detroit Catholic Central, the Shamrocks, winners in 1979, 1990, and here in 1992 as they hang on and defeat Saginaw Arthur Hill. Final score 21-20, and the trophy presentations taking place down on the field. Roy Allen, who is the Director of Health and Physical Education for the Detroit Public Schools, will present the hardware. First to receive their trophies will be the Lumberjacks of Arthur Hill. They were the defending state champions, had won 20 games in a row, made it to the Dome, and fell a point short.
What a great effort by the Lumberjacks, and they are to be congratulated there. Not able to defend a state champion in this class, Mark. We still have a situation where nobody has done it back-to-back.
Other side of the field, the Shamrocks of Catholic Central receive their trophy and medals as the 1992 Class AA state champions. And great program. They've been here at the Dome 5 of the last 6 years and have 2 state championships to show for it. Tom Mack really has the program going great at Catholic Central.
Well, a great group of athletes and a very difficult game for them as they're able to come away with a state championship. And Mark, they deserve their state championship, but they certainly had to earn it today.
Oh. One of your network sponsors is Farm Bureau Insurance. Okay, so first we'll see the Fred Taylor halfback pass. We are back at the Silver Dome. You see our final score as Detroit Catholic Central defeats Saginaw Arthur Hill 21-20. I'm Mark Crawford along with the old coach Bill Brandell in a game that just kind of takes it out of you as you sit down now at the end of the game and you just spent, William.
Well, you are. You're exhausted. As I said, Mark, I've lost my voice, and you're just kind of holding your breath on each one of these plays. That's the kind of a ball game it was. What a great effort on the part of both teams. One of the best football games that I have ever seen.
Oh, it was a beauty, and we've got a couple of plays that we'll show you. First off, the winning touchdown in this ball game, and a little bit of a razzle-dazzle play. A halfback pass by Fred Taylor to Brady Pinkow.
Well, Fred Taylor does not show the ball immediately, but finally gets out to the side, and Pinkow has now gotten behind a defender. He has to wait for the ball to get to him a little bit, but once he has it, it's on into the end zone, and that proved to be the winning touchdown, of course, with the extra point.
Yeah, Adam Borshirt's extra point is what I was just looking for. That's really the difference in this ball game, 21-20. But it wasn't over, William, and in the final moments of play, there was an opportunity for Arthur Hill to still win this ball game. On 4th down, quarterback Marvin Wright tried to pull some magic out of his pocket and sent it downfield, and boy, this is how close it was to an Arthur Hill state title.
Well, Marvin Wright delivers the ball right where he needs to, and you can see his intended receiver, Kendrick Redeemer, up to tip the ball. The defender had cut in front of him, taking a chance on knocking it down, but Kendrick Redeemer high in the air to tip it, tips it up, but just simply cannot find the ball again, reaches for it, falls to the ground, tantalizingly just inches from his hands, and that was the end of the offensive drive for the Lumberjacks.
Well, Kendrick Redeemer knows that if he's in his backyard and not playing with shoulder pads on, he catches that ball. His shoulder pad bounced it away. Great football game. Your state champions, Redford Detroit Catholic Central. One of your network sponsors is Big Boy Restaurants.
It was an offensive show all afternoon. 286 yards of total offense for the Shamrocks. They're the winners today. 393 total yards for the Lumberjacks. They come up a point short.
You know, the fumble by Saginaw Arthur Hill as they were driving for a touchdown that would have put them, what, about 14 points up in the third quarter, really proved to be the turning point.
Well, I don't call it a fumble, Mark. I call it a theft. As nose man Paul Nemsick is the guy that came in and just stole the ball away from quarterback Marvin Wright. And Marvin Wright down at about the 5-4 yard line at that time. So it was a key play.
Came down to who had the bigger arms, huh?
It did, and who had the strength right then. And as the Shamrocks stopped that offensive drive to start this second half and then took the ball themselves and marched it down the field to score.
All right, as the number of participants in school athletic programs grow, there also is a trend in non-faculty coaches directing the efforts of our youngsters. To help educate those coaches on the philosophies of educational athletics, the MHSAA has worked with Michigan State University to develop the Program of Athletic Coaches Education, otherwise known as PACE. We find out in this report from Dave Luciani. To wrap up from the Pontiac Silverdome, Bill, you and I have been coming to state football championships here for a decade anyway, and I'm not sure start to finish we've ever seen a more entertaining football game.
Well, I'm sure I haven't, Mark. As you were mentioning here while folks were away, we have seen more exciting finishes, maybe final plays of ball games. But you're right, from start to finish, this one went back and forth. You just felt electricity in the air for the whole ball game, always expecting one team to be able to answer the challenge of the other, and that's just what they did. Two great football teams just going head-to-head and giving it everything they had.
Yeah, two heavyweights toe-to-toe, and in the end, Arthur Hill falls to Redford Detroit Catholic Central. Your final score here was 21-20. Thursday night, our coverage of the 1992 MHSAA football finals continues here on Pro-Am Sports with the Class CC championship game at 7:30 p.m. between Montague and Detroit St. Martin de Porres. Stay with us as we again bring you the best in high school sports coverage all week long here on Pass. For Bill Brandell, I'm Mark Crawford. Thanks for joining us. See you later.